Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Coach Hager here, and today we've got a very special guest for you. This is Coach Mike Rebuck, and we're going to have just a little chat this morning and get to know him a little bit. I just want to say off the start, I really appreciate Coach Rebuck for taking some time to do this. He's been a really great guy for me to get to know over the last year or so, and I just wanted to share some of his thoughts with you all because I know that we are not getting the chance to get to know each other in person as much here. He's a great guy. I know he loves running. He loves track and field and this sport. But more importantly to me, I think he genuinely loves the kids and he loves you guys and the team and being around this. So hopefully you get a chance to get to know him a little bit and we'll go from there. So good morning, Coach Rebuck. And
Good
we're gonna
morning.
start. We're gonna start with an easy one. What's going on in your life right now?
Well, it's been an interesting time for me in the last 4 to 5 weeks. As many of you know, while running, I felt some different different feelings where I was working just way too much for the pace in which I was going, and that led me to go to a doctor, which led me to go to the hospital, which then, in a roundabout way, through a couple of different opinions and different locations, and ended up having open heart surgery. So that kind of set this coronavirus pandemic, set it up a little early for me. I was actually getting out of the hospital probably, well, the surgery would have been 4 weeks ago on this Thursday. So I've kind of cleared a lot of the hurdles from that operation and starting to get back to a little bit more of business as usual and being able to move a little bit with a little bit more ease and just kind of get back to a new normal. Whereas I actually haven't been able to drive, and Coach Hager can attest that he drove, I'll call it Miss Daisy home a few times from practice when we had it that one week. And I know a couple of students and athletes have also contributed to getting Miss Daisy back and forth from practice. And on Thursday, I'm actually licensed and free to go back to driving. I'll say that I don't know where I would go at this point driving. However, I'm going to at least back down the driveway and drive around the cul-de-sac a few times.
Nice, nice. Well, we are certainly thinking about your recovery and hoping that all is well with you. Um, but we do want to talk a little bit about you and your life and things like that today. So, how about this one? What made you get into coaching? I know you were at Mechanicsburg for a few years here before I showed up, and I know that especially the senior group has a nice connection with you. So, what made you start? What made you show up here and say, I want to spend every day after school with some high school kids and middle school kids and just follow them around while they run?
That's a good question. And I'm going to remove some of my props at this point because I think probably the laughter has either wondered if I had lost something more than just some blood, maybe a little bit of flesh. But I recall before we went to states last year as a team, the girls made states, and the girls all came out of the training room with fake beards on and kind of shadowed Coach Hager, and I was without a beard, and I was kind of feeling a little left out at that moment. So I thought I would try to redeem myself. My son Jonah has an Abe Lincoln outfit, so this particular beard is an Abe Lincoln beard, and he has the hat. He was very excited of me to use it, and I thought it would be fun to start off the video. But
I like
how
it.
did I get into coaching? That's a great question. And the funny thing is, and I look back in retrospect, I've been a coach all my life. When I was in high school, I was not a runner. Running was punishment to me. Football, if you did not do what you were supposed to do, you had to go run. It was a conditioning necessary evil of the sport of football. And wrestling was kind of the same. If you had to lose weight, and that was the constant, you were losing weight to make a weight class, to make your team better, you had to go run. And it was not really a positive thing for me in high school. But even in high school with wrestling, I was actually helping out an elementary group when I was in high school. And it's funny that some of the elementary people that I actually helped out are the same age and graduated with some of the parents of our students. And I can think of a certain individual who ended up in Shamokin, Pennsylvania. His name was Kurt Stamen. He did very well. He was a great athlete even when he was in elementary school. You could tell he was a difference maker. And he actually graduated with the Snyders, both Molly and Leah's mother at Shamokin. So that it's funny how things work out, and you're never really that far away from other people. But I guess that was the start of it. Outside of the formal coaching environment, I began really coaching cross country with the 8th graders, and that would have been 5 years ago, I believe now. The Coles, the Kyles, Molly, those seniors that we have on our team right now, that was my first year. And while it was the first formal year of coaching on a cross country level, again, I'd always kind of been coaching other people in an informal way. Maybe it was giving them a workout that I had used in the past. Maybe it was another situation where I simply was pacing them on a run, whether it had been a half marathon or something a little bit longer in trying to get them a better race. So my coaching, while formally it's really only been 5 or 6 years, it's really been something I've been involved in and something I've truly enjoyed giving to others for probably the bulk of my life.
Very cool. I think that's one of the things, if we all admitted to ourselves that we do see in you, that desire to help each other and help others and see them achieve their goals. So I'm going to change this up because I know I sent you a couple questions to check out, but I can see in the background there you've got a race number on your wall. And I figure that among most runners, if there's a framed race runner somewhere or race number somewhere, that's got to be an important one. So do you mind telling us maybe a little bit about your 1727 back there?
Sure. There's a brand called Tracksmith. They're based in Boston, Massachusetts. It was kind of one of those small brands that no one has ever heard of. It's certainly not a power like Nike or Adidas or Brooks for that matter. They deal mainly with clothing, and it's kind of it's a grassroots organization, a throwback kind of to the days in which people worked really hard and ran lots of miles and did crazy workouts that people would usually raise an eyebrow and say, wow, that's a lot. You sure you got that? They have a program called AC Hair, and it's an insider group that allows individuals to kind of train under their brand or race under their brand. It typically is given out through performances. Oddly enough, last year they came out with the option to do a turkey trot. And if indeed you won your age group or won the overall race, they gave you a free membership to AC Hair. And I went to New Cumberland, and fortunately there just aren't a lot of 50-year-old pluses that want to run fast. I'll say that there are members of the team. I can think of one individual directly who I ran with and kept telling him to go faster because he shouldn't be back here with me. But I was able to actually win my age group, and that won me a pie from the Pennsylvania bakery, as well as the opportunity then to get the race number or the AC Hair membership. It gets me emails. It gets me some insider information with Tracksmith. Talks about their brand, what they're doing. It also talks about, it gave me a race singlet that I can wear. And there's a PR bonus program. So if at some point this year I can run some race that can get me a personal record, I actually can get $100 in credit to their store.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. See, and this is, we had this conversation with my brother yesterday about still running after high school and stuff. And Coach Rebuck's another great example of this. Running and this sport doesn't stop just because you've graduated or there aren't track meets or things like that. There are so many opportunities throughout your life to be a part of this. And so one of those things I wanted to bring you was people who have been out there doing that. And I think Coach Rebuck's a great example of keeping going all the time and not just stopping because it's less organized and things like that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to listen to yesterday's interview last night, and I picked up on your brother and you talking about, I don't want to be 50 years old looking back and regretting things. I was like, yeah, you'll be there soon. Don't worry. The time goes very quickly. And as I actually was talking with Coach Robinson last night, who will turn 78 on the 6th of April, he too was talking about, hey, I remember 52 quite well. Things work well. 78, things are going to change again for you. So he was giving me kind of a heads up and a firsthand knowledge of things that I have to look forward to and things that I need to do a little bit better to make sure I'm still running at his age.
Good for you, and good for Coach Robinson. Maybe we'll figure out a way to get him on here sometime too. I think he'd be a fun one. So let's shift a little bit. Let's talk maybe outside of the running world. What's your favorite thing, your favorite hobby outside of running and coaching?
That's a tough one. I've always tried to be not the one-trick pony guy. I always have tried to be diverse in the way in which I think, which growing up in central Pennsylvania is not easy. The one thing that I kind of keep going back to is I was born north of here, more rural area than really Mechanicsburg is. And certainly it's, not an urban area. I went to high school called Lion Mountain, and we do not have a stoplight in the entire school district. Yet our school district is probably the size of probably Harrisburg itself. It's very spread out, but there just is not really a lot of concentrated population anywhere, thus the no need for stoplights. My grandfather was a farmer, and I remember many Sundays of going with him after Sunday dinner and just driving around the fields in his beat up old pickup truck and looking and counting the cows and looking at what the status of the hay is. And I don't know that I really appreciated it as much as I certainly do now. But kind of growing up being that farmer type mentality of a very hard working life and being able to watch your hard work pay off, whether it be a plant or whether it be running, you're running a better time because of the hard work you've done in the past. But I enjoy gardening in a roundabout way. I have 2 dogs, so I'm not truly a farmer like my grandfather was, but yet my weeds that I grow here and the vegetables that I grow here kind of all stems back from my grandfather and the way in which we spent a lot of Sundays together.
Oh, that's very cool. See, I didn't know that about you. We'll have to share gardening tips here on one of these. We'll get Courtney in here. I just spread the mulch. She knows the rest.
Courtney could show me a lot of things that I could do more effectively and better.
Well, we just bought a new compost bin here in this time, so we're working on assembling a new compost bin to do that. One of my fun experiences gardening is, maybe everybody didn't know this, you can buy worms in a vending machine at Bass Pro Shop, and worms are great composting in your garden. So that was one of my fun experiences with gardening is, vending machine worms, because it's something that we have here, I guess.
There's a lot of things that we have down here that my grandfather would probably roll in his grave and start laughing about.
Oh,
the fact that Paulus's farm, you actually can pay money to go look at a goat or a cow is really something that I chuckle about every time Jonah and I go over there. Love going, but it's like the fact that we're paying money to actually go see someone's goat and feed it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so Alonzo, we're learning some things about you here this morning. Tell us something that would surprise people to know about you.
I mentioned that farmer mentality, and while I don't think anybody would be surprised of my work ethic, I think they would be surprised that I'm actually like to dig in the dirt. you know, it's something that's, what I do for a living is insurance related, and I don't really make anything. I really don't get to see anything, the results of my hard work. So having that farmer background and growing, whether it be last year it was zucchinis in the back, which I probably still have zucchinis in the freezer from the large crop of fruit that we harvested from that one particular small bush that just went crazy. Um, Probably most people don't know that I really am a farmer at heart. Really enjoy the seasons. Really enjoy the changing of the seasons and handing off. And I can actually sit outside and just watch kind of things moving around a lot. I enjoy Sunday drives, kind of like my grandparents did, and maybe it's looking at deer, maybe it's looking at not far from me. There's an alpaca farm, and Jonah will attest to the fact that we've driven by the alpaca farm probably 12 times in the last week and a half, and he's kind of tired of getting in the car to go see him, but yet I keep dragging him there. So I don't know that many people would know that I'm really a farmer at heart.
That's very cool. We'll keep that in mind here as we move forward. Nice. Nice. Well, I got one more question for you, and this is something that I'm going to do with guests all the time, but I'll let you flip this around. What's one question you would ask me if you had the chance? What you do?
You know, Brian, I've said this out loud to you a couple times in private, and I'm going to say it again here. Whenever you have a new relationship, you never know really where it's going to go and how it's going to, how well of a relationship it'll be, if it'll be struggles, if there'll be ups and downs. And really, we didn't know each other that well. I remember bumping into you kind of in a parking lot when I was working with Coach Hay, and she had a really good understanding of you and who you are and where you came from and your coaching styles, and that was comforting for me, knowing that our relationship was going to start. What you project is this calm aura of patience and flexibility, and I've really appreciated that throughout the year in which we worked together. I guess my question would be to you is, everyone has struggles, and I guess, where do you struggle on the job, and where do you need to take pause sometimes? What situations have pushed you through the last year in working with me as well as with the team? And is there anything I can do in there to help you with that hard item in which may exist, and maybe it doesn't?
That's a great question. So I think something that I learned maybe early on in coaching, and I will admit that coaching was never my go-to thing. It was never my intention. I kind of stumbled upon it with an injury my senior year of college, and didn't get the chance to run, and was kind of stuck on the sidelines, but wanted to be around the team. And but kind of what I learned in all that is, in our sport, and probably in other sports too, but I know in our sport, especially in track and field right now, I mean, we've got 150 kids on the roster, and there's a lot of organization that goes into that. And I think that learning how to stay calm in that, learning how to be focused, was really important to me, because it was easy to see a lot of other people getting worked up and letting their emotions out. And not that that's bad, but I think it was important on those teams that I was coaching to have somebody be kind of the anchor there a little bit. I worked with a lot of athletes in those years, and throughout this time too, but a lot of athletes who it was fair that they had some emotions. They needed to get things out. This is a tough sport. There are ups, there are downs. And I found that if I was overly excited either way, that, in a down kind of time, that just fed into it all, and that brought everybody down. And so staying calm there was really important to me, because I think it really helped some athletes figure out that there was a place that they could come to let emotion out, but also that it was an ability to help them move forward with some things. One of the struggles for me is that sometimes. And I will admit that, like, I look back at our trip to States this fall with the ladies, and every so often I look back at that with a little regret that I don't know that I showed enough excitement for their accomplishments between districts and states and really the whole season. Um, I think sometimes I do struggle with maybe being too calm, maybe being almost too detached, and I think maybe I wasn't doing a good job of showing them the necessary excitement about what was going on. And so, admittedly, I think sometimes I don't want to take that too far, and I need some help from you and kids on the team to say, Coach Hager, it's okay for you to be pumped up right now. It's okay for high fives, and I'm not a hug kind of person, but I'll do high fives and things a lot. Um, and so even in that, I think it was possible for me to take that maybe too far to say, I need to be so calm here and let my emotions out. I was pumped. I was excited when all that happened. I remember taking a moment up on the upper fields at Big Spring um, after we found out, districts placing and that kind of stuff, that I just kind of paused um, and knelt down for a moment just to, gather myself, and Coach Robinson coming by and asking me if I was all right. And I'm like, I'm fine. It was just that I needed to regroup a little bit. But I do want to make sure that I am letting my emotions out, letting my excitement play. And there are things that bum me out. There are times that um, I need to regroup a little bit by getting home and saying that didn't go as well as I'd hoped. Um, this time, this being away from everybody, this has been tough on me. I really do miss being around the team and being around you guys every day. And so that's part of why I'm doing this is to stay in touch with everybody. But one of the things that I'd ask, your help with, and then the team's help with, is remind me that you want to see excitement. If that's what you want, if if we're all okay with somebody not showing that, that's fine with me too. But I don't want to say I'm just going to change for whatever the situation is. But at the same time, I want to do justice to the accomplishments and the emotion that's going on in the team around us. And that is a tough thing for me to balance, not going too far, but making sure that I'm going far enough in that.
It's one of the reasons I think you and I work really well is that we do balance each other. And I appreciate your calming anchor. And sometimes I'm the one jumping up and down and hugging. So it's been good. And I said this to Mary, to be honest with you, both you and she have made me a better person, whether it be watching my P's and Q's, whether it be having faith in people, and whether it been, knowing when to give the high five and look at the positive. So I thank you for that.
And I appreciate that presence. It's interesting being in this position now. I spent a lot of years as an assistant coach and being the one kind of, flipping the role a little bit of being the one who was jumping up and down a little bit more and things like that. And that's not a bad thing at all. I don't want to take anything away from that. I think sometimes when I took over here and you get that title head coach, sometimes it makes you feel like you've got to be a little bit different. And I do want to make sure that this is fun. It's a great sport. It's an exciting time. And there are challenges too. There are times when, I get emails from kids or I talk to kids and you're hurting or you're not seeing the progress that you want. And that weighs on me too. I feel that. So I want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to help you grow as people and as athletes and students and just as human beings, because we're all going to have times that, we go through rough things and times that we go through really exciting things. And being able to let those out, I think, is really important for all of us. Cool. Well, Coach Rebuck, is there anything else you want to share before we go here? Any last thoughts for the viewers out there?
No, I don't think so. You really didn't comment on the beard, though.
Well, it's interesting. I like the beard.
It's a little dark. You know,
Well,
you and your brother, your beards are not as dark as us. So I can see why you wouldn't claim me as a sibling and everything. But
well, I was looking at that picture of you that you found from college here. I'd be interested to see what happened if you let that grow here. Um, just maybe putting that challenge out there to you a little bit. But I
I
like.
don't think I have any. Yeah, the issue of growing facial hair is certainly not one that would take a lot of work. Although I just think right now it would be a lot of gray.
Well,
A lot of
I'll
gray.
admit that I keep finding gray ones in there from time to time too. It's but signs of wisdom and experience, right? That's the theory.
And certainly if we can show that through a beard, it probably is value added.
All right, folks. Well, we'll sign off here. Coach Rebuck, thanks for being on and sharing some time with us this morning. To the rest of you, I hope you enjoy this and enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll keep going and check things out for somebody else new tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day, everybody.